Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Leary, and we've just been looking over some numbers for the past few weeks. It seems we're in a rut. We've had champions for the last 5 weeks who've been unable to repeat. I don't want to put any special burden on these guys here, but we've got some tradition to buck anyway. And if they can do it, that'll mean they'll take home another winner's share. That's $500 for the winners. $300 goes to the losers. You should know the bonus money situation by now. 3 marks in a row, $50. 3 strikes in a row, $1,000 in bonus money, and a $300 combined total for the 2 strings that we bowl here would pay off another $100 as well. So let's see if that tradition will be bucked, and if Gene Gates and Bill Lipetri can hold on. Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney, the guys that'll try to knock him off here.
Wait. Go. Okay, resolve it to go? Block. Go ahead. No. Building sleeve.
Bill Lipetri will start it off. Bill, married. He's from Stowe. And for the challengers, Rick Farwell. Bill carries a 117 average. He has a high single of 181 and a high triple of 438. And probably regrets not opening as he did a week ago. Remember, he opened with a big strike in the first box. Takes a 10 this time around. Rick needs only the 10 for a 10. Let's see if he can wiggle around that piece of wood in order to get it. And he's got it. For a spare, and he's right on it. And there's a spare. So we've got mirror images up on the scoreboard there. Big drop on the spare. And a little drop on the spare. All right, there's 2 in a row. This is the first time on the Candlepin Doubles show for Rick Farwell. His last appearance on Channel 5 was on Candlepin Bowling at noontime. He had the misfortune 5 years ago of running into a buzzsaw by the name of Joe Donovan, who was in the midst of an 8 or 9 week run at the time, and I think Rick was victim number 3 or 4 in that run. He's on a roll, and he's also got a bankroll, $50 in bonus money. And Rick Farrell almost. So things are heating up here. Almost put a foot through the floor, but doesn't matter. The spare in the 4th. The applause you hear, I think, is because Ralph Stewart cleared away some wood. It could be for that tan that he's sporting today. All right, this is for 4 in a row and another $50 in bonus money. Got the 5 with some wood that might be a problem. Oh, no, it's no problem at all. 4 marks in a row. All right, Rick Farwell takes the 10 and a 56 at the halfway mark. Not bad, but because of some hot bowling up there opposite him, thanks to Bill Lipetri, the champs are way out in front, and maybe they are making a run at being the first team in over a month or so to be able to repeat here. At the halfway point, 79 plus for Bill Lipetri and Gene Gates, and 56 for Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney. We'll be back with their partners and part 2 of the opening string right after this. Right, here we go with part 2 of string number 1 now. Gene Gates. Get quite an act to follow. Well, apparently not. As it turns out, maybe Bill Lipetri is just a warm-up act for Gene Gates. A strike on the spare. We'll get 89 through 5 for the champs, and the challengers here are also looking at a mark. There it is, Steve Vadney. These guys have put up 3 marks in 6 boxes, and they're able to stay in it for 2 in a row. All right, for 6 marks in a row. Got it. So we're seeing the money pile up here. $200 in bonus money so far, and a spare on the other side again for Steve Vadney. Well, Gene will be hard-pressed to keep the cash flow going. Likewise with Steve Vadney. Needs this for 250. So a $7. Looks kind of ugly up there on the scoreboard next to all those chalk marks. 132 through 8 for the champs. And 94 through 8 for the challengers. But you know, we were talking about Joe Donovan a little while ago. And it wasn't long ago, only a couple of years ago, that Joe Donovan came on to the Super Bowl show, down 54 pins after the opening string with his partner, and came back to win it. Couple of good spares. So the challengers from New Hampshire are hanging tough. For another mark. Well, that's some great bowling. 8 marks in the 10 frames. 158 plus through 10. Steve Vadney finishing up with not a bad opening string, actually. 119 certainly could be better, but opposite the high numbers on the other side, it certainly looks a little pale. Well, not a big drop, only 4. But good enough for an opening string of 162. So with a 138 in the next string, these guys would be able to get to 300 and an extra $100 in bonus money. And it's been a long, long time since anyone's been able to do that. So here are the totals again from the opening string. For our challengers, trying to be the first team in well over a month to make it 2 in a row, Bill Lipetri and Gene Gates have a 162. And for our challengers, Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney, a 119. We'll come back and see if the champs can hold on right after this. And almost through the back door. Well, these guys are doing it again. And having some fun doing it. Bill Lipetri with a spare in the opening box as they're making a run at 300. I don't know if we can see Rick Farwell's shoes, but he's got these brown bowling shoes that almost look like dress shoes. Granted, in need of a little polish, but he has worn them, he says, he's not sure how many years for this pair, but he's been bowling since he was 12, and in that time, he has only worn 2 pairs of shoes. And these, look it, as Bill Lipetri strikes on the spare. There you see it. Bill Lipetri has been on fire since opening up with a 10 box. Since then, he has bowled 7 straight boxes with a mark. Or 6 straight. Well, it'll be tough to keep that streak going now, but who knows with what he's been converting. There are those shoes. Actually, you can't really see it from the back, but the type of thing that he's afraid to touch because they just might fall apart. Kind of like saying goodbye to your baby blanket, I guess. I don't think they can compare with Dave Romani's shoes that passed through here a few weeks ago. Well, he didn't get the spare, but he got quite a 10, huh? 47 now through 3. "91 pins away from 300, and he has, along with Gene Gates, 7 boxed in which to do it. Needs one of them, and he's got it. Rick takes a 9, 37, and Bill takes a 9, 56. So Gene Gates will need a big finish here to get to 300. And likewise, Steve Vadney will need a real big finish to make any kind of a run at this. Needs that for a mark. He's got some hyperactive wood down there. That's the reason for the delay. And he's got it. Those single pins can stare you right down. 66 plus as Bill Lipetri takes a seat after some great bowling. And Rick Farwell with 45 up on the board through the first 5. So Steve Vadney takes over now. Steve had it going on the Candlepin show not long ago. He made 5 consecutive appearances. First time here on this show. Nope, that's a 9. So Gene Gates and Bill Lipetri now at 81 through 6. Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney at 55. So the match pretty much is beyond doubt. The question is whether these guys can get to a 138. Here, nice spare by Steve Vadney in order to get the 300. Nice shot for a 10 and a 91. Steve Vadney now seemingly has it going, but just a little bit too late. 9 on the spare. Almost. And there it is for another 10 and 101. So needs a big finish at 37 pins in order to get to 300. Well, it might get some help from the wood. Back, despite the split, this should go, and it does. Not exactly where he wanted to hit it, I don't think, but it goes nevertheless. Steve Vadney with 9 and 99. Gene Gates with the spare is at 101.11 plus. We'll need another mark and then a couple of fills of 8, 9 pins, and there you have it. Well, there's 8. Ralph Stewart gets a little exercise. For the spare, he's got it. At 129. So Gene with a 9 would get to 138 and 300 for an extra $100. Will he do it? No! The closest we've come in a long time. Closest we've come in almost a year, in fact. A couple of great strings, though. And unfortunately, all Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney could do is just look on. They throw up a 235, an opener of 119, a second string of 116. Some weeks that would win, even though it's on the low side. But these guys were just a little bit too much here. Bill Lipetri and Gene Gates, a 162 to open, a 135 to close, almost a 300, but still they get a chance to come back next week and maybe try again. A 297 to 235 win. We'll be back with the winners and the losers right after this. Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney. I guess when you have a couple of guys that bowl at 297, there's not much you can do about it, huh?
Yeah, it's had in 2 strings when they come out like they did.
Yeah.
To catch up.
Do you get a feeling once they get to like 162 in the first string that's going to be a little tough?
Yeah, I had a feeling the days were numbered then. they came out of the chute, they bowled real well, got a few breaks, and that's what it takes in a two-string match.
Okay, we'll see you next time around, and I'm sure those shoes will be back since they've been with you since the age of 12. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, Rick Farwell and Steve Vadney, and now our defending champions for the second straight week, Bill Lipetri and Gene Gates. We mentioned at the opening that we hadn't had a championship team that was able to repeat, but you guys just poo-pooed that and came back and won, huh?
Yeah, we were shooting for that.
Yeah.
Wanted to break the losing streak.
Couldn't imagine you could be bowling any better than you were.
Oh, no, I'll take that bowling all the time. Keep it going, you know?
You going to give this guy a ride home after not being able to get the 9 in the 10th for the 300 game?
Well, he hit the head pin, so I'll let him come home with me today.
We haven't done that for a couple of years, so we expect you to make another run at it next week. Okay?
We'll give it a shot.
All right, we'll see you. Next week, Gene Gates and Bill Lipetri will be back against Peter Morrison and Jeff Canada. I said next week, didn't I? I don't mean that. It's going to be... Actually, we'll be off for the next 2 weeks. Next week, we'll move over for the Cherry Blossom Parade between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and then the week after that, the American Beauty Search. Apparently, we're just not happy with the way you guys look, so we'll see if we can find someone else. And so in 3 weeks, we'll be back here, and these guys will try to defend for the 3rd straight time. Now, for everyone here at Fairway Sports World and Eddie, have a good afternoon.